Story, hook him up with that intro, man.
Do you want me to do the intro again?
Hook him up with that intro.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Briar, Houndish, and myself flapping our lips about the weekly reset. Isn't that right, fellas?
New title.
Totally.
What,
At the end, we all go, aha!
And lashings of ginger beer.
Hell yeah.
What is the title for this appendage? I don't know.
I've got no idea.
Did we come up?
I think we've got 3. We each name it something different, and I know that I'd name it something different every week.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, how about we could give we could put this out to the followers and the supporters out there, and they could name it for us, and and put some comments in the comment section about what the name could be, and if we see something particularly amazing, we could pick that out and give them a free bag of pubic hair, for example.
I tried that with the last one, and the one I got was tea and tarts.
Tea and tarts, I quite like that. Tea and tarts, I quite like that. Isn't that the clan name for our trials, expeditions?
Is it?
Yeah, I thought that we could develop a little bit of a group, but for the weekly reset chat. Maybe if there's folks out there that want to help us name the 3 of us chatting about the weekly reset, that'd be great. And you wouldn't be guaranteed a bag of pubic hair, unfortunately, because I'm pretty sure that you'd close one of our channels down, or all 3, for sending you a bag of pubic hair clippings. And
I don't have any to spare. I'm using all mine.
Well, they've got grown into your groin and grown out of your chin. That's what happens when you get older. And
That's it.
that's why I'm shaving mine off, but they're growing back with fierceness. But anyway, moving on from talk of pubic hair and on to the weekly reset. What have we got? Drum roll. What have we got?
We got the Nightfall. Nightfall this week has a bunch of modifiers that everybody hates except for primary damage. Primary damage is basically our burn of the week.
Woohoo!
Yep. So we got Berserk,
it is the
nice.
taken version of the Archon Priest, which is nice.
It is.
So if you want a stolen will, like Story Machine did, you can get one.
Yeah, and my advice and tips on how to get the stolen will is play the worst you've ever played Destiny in your life with 2 friends that are playing quite well, and you might get a stolen will and an exotic on the top, like a little cherry on top of the Bakewell tart. So
don't come up on top of the leaderboard because you're guaranteed a Vanguard Ghost.
Yeah, as per usual. But it wasn't particularly difficult, really, was it?
No.
I mean,
it sounds worse than it is.
Yeah, it does. Berserk, no radar. Like, no radar frankly, in PvE, not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
No. I do want to know who named Chaff, though. Sorry.
Chaff.
Epic, I think, is one of them, and damn, I forgot the other.
What do we got? So,
isn't Chaff...
Chaff, Trickle, Berserk.
Chaff short for Chaff short for Chaffinch, isn't it? Or is it what commoners are called from people with lisps?
I have no idea.
I got no idea.
You fucking
I thought it was
Presumably
related
they
to
can't see.
airplanes and trying to... you release the chaff to try and get the heat-seeking missile to go? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. There's the Briar coming in with all the common sense and the logic and the rationale. God.
That's it.
My phone really...
But yeah, it is
make
actually a fun strike. I was glad to see it as the Nightfall because, again, you do get a higher chance at that stolen will, and it's a fun strike that we didn't have access to for a significant portion of the Taken King.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite Nightfalls to do. When it was the Archon Priest, it was one of my favorites, and now it's again, it's back in this Taken form, and it's pretty fun in the Taken form. It's not that different. It's just taking enemies instead of fallen enemies.
Yeah.
Nice. What else?
What's the Prison Elders this week?
You know what?
Challenge of Elders. So it's super kills. We got catapult and exposure. So it's not too bad. Pretty fun.
No, that's not bad.
But no trickle. I really, really get frustrated when it's super kills and you've got trickle and you only get one super per decade. That's not fun.
That's not fun.
No.
I don't like the not fun modifiers. Like when they add more enemies and the enemies are tougher and the enemies have more shields. Fine, I love it. When they make me take more damage when I'm in the air, or when they reduce the number of grenades and supers I can use, I'm less a fan of those, the anti-fun modifiers. I see why they're there, but they're just not. It makes the game less fun, in my opinion.
Well, with catapult and exposure, I mean, exposure's not too good, but with catapult, I think you're in for a fairly quick challenge of elders this week. So that's good.
If you could spec your guardian so you get more super on grenade kills too, probably be doing pretty well.
Max discipline, max intellect, you know.
Bad juju.
Bad boo-boo.
Can I ask you guys a question? Are you guys still running the Challenge of Elders on a weekly basis?
I'm doing it for gear because I'm a gear whore at the moment. I want the best possible gear for my warlock. He's like, that's my main. I'm maining a warlock at the moment. I go through periods of maining different characters all the time. Now I'm back on my warlock again, and I want some good gear, and I want a selection. This is why I have no armor materials, no glimmer, no weapon materials, because I like a good selection of stuff, and I unlock everything, and I'll try it out and blah blah blah. But like for different loadouts, I want the armor, and the best place to get, you know, high level stuff, it's guaranteed that you're going to get at least something. And the great thing about the loot with the Challenge of Elders is you can keep on going over it and over it and over it with the same character, and you've got a chance for it to drop ghosts and class items at the end, as well as those fallen exotics. So if you want 335 a special weapon or a class item, and having class items and various bits of armor, they're actually 335 different ones. They are very helpful for having different loadouts. If you're trying to, like warlocks, you can have intellect discipline builds, intellect strength builds, discipline strength builds. So you're looking for artifacts, you're looking for class items of all the.
I find that with warlocks, I do that the most. With the hunter and the titan, I often just stick to intellect discipline. But with the warlock, I really do value the melee, especially in PvP.
Oh yes.
So I do tend to, like Stormcaller. I don't find that I'm particularly effective using the Stormcaller super. So I tend to try and spec for grenades and melees because those are so good, right?
Yep. I'm with you, man.
With those.
I've tried running intellect strength with a Stormcaller, but I just find the super is so useless in most cases. You have to be up against a bunch of really like unspatially aware folk to get like multi kills with a Stormcaller.
Basically playing Iron Banner.
Yeah, and you feel like a little piece of tissue paper soaked in kerosene as soon as you pop it as well, dancing around naked flames, because people have only got a cough on you and you die, you know. Oh fuck, I'm dead. Guardian down. You know.
I know that it is possible to be good with it because I've seen people who are very hard to kill when they pop it.
Yeah, I mean, Ionic Blink, that increases the chances. Yeah, that's not me either. I mean, I'm not saying that the super in itself is completely useless. I am useless with it, but I'm having no luck with it. I'm trying my best, but having no luck. But yeah, Challenge of Elders, great place to source your class items and bits of gear. So it just helps in the grind in getting your characters to max light, and not just getting to max light, but having a variation of gear to support
the weapons
different
that
loadouts.
come out of there are very, very good.
If you get them.
They are.
I find that, well, you're guaranteed at least 3 a week, right? If you do it on all 3 characters.
Yeah, but the Queen stuff, I mean, some of it's quite good, but I'm not seeing a fat lot of the Queen's weapons in Trials or in PvP.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like, I honestly thought Final Duty would be a top tier PvP, you know, pulse rifle, but it just isn't.
That archetype is not real good. That's the same as Nerwin's Mercy, right?
Yeah,
it's just a little too slow to kill. It used to be very high in the meta, and then it got nerfed, and then I still want that role. I still want that archetype. I want a good roll on that archetype, and I've got one from Nerwin's Mercy, but I don't use it. I'm just basically holding on to it in the vault in case it ever comes back.
Yeah, man, same here. I've got a really good messenger. What's it called? Reflection Sum. I've got one of those that I'm holding on to, a decent Nerwin's Mercy. I've got... is it the PDX 40 something? It's not the 45. There's a slower version
41?
of it. 41. There you go.
Yeah, I think it's 41.
So I got one.
They
of
were
those.
like king at the start of the Taken King, though, weren't they? They were still really, really godly.
And then they were like, no, nerf hammer, and now you don't see them. And Final Duty, the same archetype. I got a really good roll. I mean, it's typical. I actually got a good roll on something, and it's a useless weapon.
Yeah,
always the way,
you can still be very successful with it. It's
Yeah,
just that
I
if
played
you get
it.
into a one-on-one fight, like all things being equal, skill, timing, like all things being equal,
Yeah, you're
against something
screwed.
like a Grasp of a Malik, you're just
Yeah.
gonna lose your fight.
Yeah, you dropped.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got. If you're running Challenge of Elders, you get through that fairly quickly this week, I reckon, and it's worth it.
Yeah,
It is worth it if you're still into that kind of thing and you're
Yeah.
collecting some gear.
I've really, on my chat suggestion, I get bored running it because you basically have to run it 3 times
Yes.
on each character, right, to get the armor piece.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I've abandoned that on my Twitch chat suggestion and just started doing it just the once to get the weapon.
Yeah.
Just run that first bounty and then move on to the next character. So I only run through it 3 times total instead of 9 times, and I find that I don't get sick of it as much.
Right.
Yeah. I think repeating it kind of like one after another, that definitely kills it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, the having to run it 3 times. I mean, it's good that it's 3 rounds instead of 5, like the Prison of Elders. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's rehashed, regurgitated, stuff. And it's a shame if you had to run it through like once or twice. But it's the fact that most times it's 3 times. I mean, there are some amazing people out there that end up chewing their way through it in 2 runs guaranteed every time they find a way of racking up the points. But I'm not that person.
I often run it with like viewers, so we don't have like a cohesive team and a cohesive strategy.
Well,
so it's usually 3 times.
I'm playing with my dad at the moment to get him some gear. His Titan is literally a class item away from 335, so I'll be playing it later on this week. But I'm probably only going to play it on 1 character all the way through, all 3 times.
So speaking of loot, I am on the elusive quest for a good LDR and a good Devil You Know, which requires plenty of Vanguard points. And the Heroic Strike is a great way to do that. If you go into the Heroics and just grind it, pop some Vanguard bounties, and just stay in that strike list, you can rank up pretty quickly, especially if we got some good modifiers. Do you know what we got for modifiers this week?
No.
Okay, so we got Chaff again. Yay.
Okay.
Airborne and Catapult. So, nothing manacles.
Yeah, that actually
Void
sounds
Walker.
like fun.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Like I don't think it'll be as farmable as like any of the weeks.
Yeah,
of the burn,
and they're not as effective as they were. I don't know whether it's just me or whether there was something that was done to the actual scatter grenades themselves. But like throwing purple sprinklers around isn't as effective as it was before. Like I was racking up so many kills and so many points, and then there was a patch. What was it, a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever? And then after that, it was a lot more difficult to get super points with it. It's as if Bungie were like, no, too much fun, no, stop.
Well, we had that really wonderful week where it was void damage and catapult.
Am I just thinking of that then? Like
It might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been because that was just ridiculous. Like it was so easy.
Well, I loved it. I was like, here you go, sprinkling all my fairy dust about the place, and there was points galore. I thought that was ice. I thought it was amazing,
You can spec a void lock to get grenades back nearly immediately anyway.
Yeah.
And if you got catapult on, then you don't have to use anything else. You can just use
That's
grenades.
it, man.
Yeah.
And then if you
I
got
find
void
myself-
burn, holy smokes.
Man. I find myself not wanting to play any other class when it comes to heroic strikes. Have
the other classes are a chore, right?
Yeah, that's it. Maybe if they were going to change anything, that might be a reason for balance sake, kind of thing. But yeah,
if you look at on that week in particular, if you look at the scorecard and you weren't a warlock, you were like you had a third of the points that everybody else.
Yeah, you're at the bottom. Safely at the bottom.
So that sounds fun anyway. I've really started to enjoy the Vanguard Heroic now that they added modifiers to it. It added a lot of replayability for me.
Yeah.
Definitely. Making it farmable as well, because it was so much harder than, the Crucible packages.
And the strike playlist at the moment is very minimal. There's a lot of strikes that just aren't included. I don't know. I'm not sure what the reason is behind that, but there's like a whole bunch of strikes that we just don't get in rotation anymore. You get the same ones.
What they seem to be doing, though, Story, is they seem to be pulling some out, like making more some of them more likely to pop up during certain weeks.
Well, yeah,
so
like
this week you might see different ones than you saw in rotation last week.
The
Kinda
Archon
like what they do with
Priest,
Iron Banner.
the Archon Priest Taken version of that, I've I've seen that a hell of a lot more over the last week, and that's great because I'd never played it up until I think it was a week or two ago. I played it for the first time ever, and I was like, wow, nice. But where's Fogoth? Where's the Nexus?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, they're not in the rotation at all.
No,
theoretically,
they're not,
we'll see them with Rise of Iron.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I would like a bit of Sepix on the go, man, and the Nexus strike camping at the top. One person on the monitor.
Used to be a fun strike, man.
Yeah, man.
It could be really difficult. Now, arguably, Nightfalls aren't as difficult as they used to be because you don't get if you wipe, you don't get sent back to the beginning. But Nexus was difficult. If it was Void Burn with the burn of the boss himself, but also with the enemies in there, it could be very difficult. Even if you were, cheesing it.
That's it.
I would like to see them, if they bring that strike back, though, is to actually reduce the number of cheese spots in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Force
Especially
you to
now
go
that
down.
Nightfalls are much easier.
To the bottom.
Yeah, force you to go down, and then also there was like an area, like if when you fell down, there's an area to the top left that you could basically just sit up there and never take damage, and just sit there with an icebreaker and just pop the boss until he died. And then there was another area, like right to the bottom left of when you fell down, that you could basically hide it behind this little rock encampment.
Yeah.
It was a particularly cheesable strike.
Cheesable.
Definitely.
It's an edible cheesable strike. We love it.
Anybody know what the challenge mode is this week for the King's Fall raid?
War Priest, I do believe.
War Priest.
This week.
So
And I think the Court of Oryx tier 3 is Balor, if that's how it's said. Something like that.
Nice.
I've actually got to
that'll
start
be the
doing both
fragments.
of those on my Xbox account, because I would like to get the Moment of Triumph done on my Xbox account.
Nice.
It's actually a pretty good week to start on at least the King's Fall, collecting those, because you can, if you do it for the next 3 weeks, you can basically go through the whole set of them.
That's it, man. Absolutely.
I'd love to play on Xbox. I'd join you, but I haven't got an Xbox. I've got a lovely account full of all these amazing Year 1 weapons that would just be horrendously amazing to play on, and I've got no Xbox. So if there's anyone...
Wouldn't that be fun, actually, is to like just come into that account fresh
and
with all those Year 1 weapons and just go into the Crucible and see how they perform now?
Yeah, well, you get messages going, someone doesn't know that it's not Year 1 anymore. And I'm like, well, someone hasn't played since Year 1, I'm there with my 77 wizard, original 77 wizard. And what was the Dead Orbit hand cannon? The Venation, there you go. Got that.
Boom.
So,
nice, man.
Yeah, man.
I wish I could do that. Go back, just go back and grab all those old weapons that I had to delete because of the vault space.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, same here, man.
I had some god rolls back in the day that just had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that with all the shotguns. The shotguns, man, from the House of Wolves. I had like Matadors, Party Crashers, Judgment 6s. I had the whole lot, man, and I had to scrub them all. And I wish I'd kept
one
them.
on each character, all with the same rolls.
Yeah.
Right. Reforging.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh god, Reforging. I'm glad that's not around anymore, because everybody was running around with like just absolutely beast weapons, shot package and rangefinder on the same shotgun.
I wish you could reforge armor, though. There'd be no harm in doing that. Because some of the stuff, like, what really, for me, like, I'm very fickle when it comes to armor. It's cosmetic. I'm like, that looks nice. That's what I want to wear. Like, the Warlock chest pieces, there's so many blue chest pieces that look fabulous.
Yeah.
But you can't wear them ever because of how low the stats are on them. And it's like, I'd love to be able to re-roll or, like, infuse blue stuff so it was, like, of a, a more usable level with better stats.
I would love
and
to
stuff.
see an ascendancy kind of thing where, similar to how we saw like Dark Below weapons be able to like come up to House of Wolves power levels. To do that with blues, like there are some really cool blue weapons, blue sniper rifles, like you said, blue armor. That would be great to bring those up to current power level.
And if you couple that with the transmogrification as well, so you could get your Vault of Glass gear and then like transmogrify the looks from that old armor and get newer stats. And just think...
You can kind of do that with infusement. You can just kind of
Yeah,
you
but
can't do it with the perks. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like for now, like like I loved the Warlock helmet, the facade of the heathens. I really like that helmet. I would wear that today. I would sport it, but you can't because it's got a really low stat rating, and of course, you can't compete. You can't get your maxed out tiers on all your disciplines and intellects and blah blah blah.
Sure.
So, and the amount of armor that's in the game at the moment, including the blues and greens, just imagine how different everyone would look if you could transmogrify and infuse anything or re-roll the stats, reforge armor. Never mind the weapons. Have all the weapons on a loot stream or whatever, but armor, if you really want to be able to customize your guardians and look very, very different from each other, then armor is definitely a good reforgeable source, I think.
I feel like that with Trials gear. My luck with Pariah gear, which I think looks fantastic, even though it's basically the same armor.
Yeah, but it's got a better color scheme this time. It's more together.
And it's got the chroma. Like some pieces have the chroma.
Yeah, exactly.
Which,
It reminds me of Stargate, like the colour scheme that
Sure.
they've got now looks a lot more Stargatey, and I think that
I've
is...
consistently gotten just terrible rolls on Pariah gear, though. Just terrible.
And it's not easy to get now if you're not exactly
Not
a
for
god.
me, it's not.
Yeah, a PvP.
This is I went to the lighthouse on all 3 characters this week, and that's the first time I've done that since probably, I would guess, November last year.
Yeah, I think I've been flawless twice this year.
It's hard. It's hard right now.
Yeah. So what we got?
a lot
Crucible Weekly. The Crucible Weekly playlist.
Mayhem Clash is up.
Mayhem Clash. So if you fancy getting supered every 5 seconds, that's the place to be. You might
Time to bring out the Fun Police bubble build.
Yeah. So you might want to check in with your therapist and make sure that they're available. For quick impromptu sessions for a bit of psychotherapy.
Especially for the next playlist, because we got doubles back as well, don't we?
Yes. If you're chasing doubles grimoire, then there you go. I played some doubles today, and every time I played, I got an absolute pudding on my team, and I was against like 2 players of equal skill, so I was like
Welcome to the
expected to
Crucible.
carry. Yeah, I mean it was terrible. So I'm only going to bother playing with like a friend with that. The matchmaking's awful.
Yep. Last time I played it, man, it was just the sweaty. I mean, I play Trials of Osiris every weekend, but doubles, man, it was sweaty. And like the tea bags were real. Like every
it's
kill
another
you
world
get
in there, man.
Dirty. But I'm looking forward to it. I've got like 100 matches, 95 matches to win to claim all the grimoire on that, and that's got to be done at some point. I probably won't be able to fit that many games in this week, but I'd like to make a dent in it if possible.
So, do you guys think we'll get an Iron Banner in August?
I don't know, man.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it
God
might...
roll Finale's peril.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. Rangefinder, rifle barrel look in the chamber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a guy. I was playing Rumble with a chat with one of them the other day, and he was literally unbeatable. I had nothing in my inventory that could compete with that, even at like range.
It is very good.
On close quarter maps. But yeah, is that it? Is that the whole shebang that we've...
I think so.
That's everything,
we've done it, though, so we can start packing away our wares and shift off towards pastures greener and wish everybody a very good week. May your loot be bountiful and fortuitous this week. I hope you get better loot than I do. And, we'll see you this time next week, won't we?
That's right.
We certainly will.
And for streams and trials and things like that, we'll be doing that probably Monday again, won't we? Next week.
Yeah, that's a fun thing.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
All right, cool.
All right then, folks. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.